Hello, my name is Cesar Gonzalez, and today we're going to be presenting stereotypes placed on African Americans in the United States. Our central argument states that when looking at the stereotypes placed on African Americans, one can conclude that they were created to dehumanize, criminalize, sexualize, and exploit Black men, women, and children. So I will be focusing on the concept of the thug or the gangster, which involves a lot of history, and also involves other stereotypes that we've talked about in class already, such as the mandingo, which is the hypersexualized Black man that can't control his lust for white women, as well as being known for having larger genitalia. There's a noble savage, which is a concept from 17th century Europe, which basically states or tries to establish a way of life for non-Europeans in terms of them being able to adapt to European standards. And then there's the brute, which is a depiction of Black men that portrays them as being savage and violent, almost animalistic, and makes it seem as if they deserve any punishment that they get. And these are a couple images of the brute, the mandingo, and the savage. So when you look at Western standards of masculinity, they generally revolve around the white man and their ability to own property, marry, give their wives a comfortable life, and generating more wealth. But due to enslavement, Black men were not allowed to participate in this type of lifestyle. So the only masculinity that they had involved power. And the only power that they had for themselves was violence, causing them to make this their own version of masculinity.
My name is Martinez, and I will be covering the stereotypes dehumanizing and sexualizing Black men and children with the pickaninny and the mandingo. So starting with the pickaninny, this stereotype derived from the words pickaningre, which means small Negro. And basically throughout imagery, it was shown with children who had large bulging eyes, unkept hair, wide mouths, and red lips, which was sort of used as a mocking term for them stuffing their faces full of watermelon. Other images were shown of them fearlessly running from animals and towards fried chicken. This imagery justified white people not feeling guilty for whatever happened to these children, whether they had bad living conditions or were homeless. It just let white people believe that this was okay. And then second, with the mandingo, so this was a stereotype of a hypersexualized male who could not control or resist his urge for sex with women, most specifically white women. This stereotype pointed out a sexual danger of white men towards women based off their physical appearance and attributes, and it was most commonly used to justify the lynching of Black men from white men for protecting a woman's honor, and more furtherly was looked at as a suggestion that Black men are incapable of stability due to their hypersexual desire and characteristics. And this is still, so this went on from the end of the slavery era to the mid-20th century, and is still shown throughout today's culture through pornography.
Okay, so my name is Ryhon Mack, and what I'm going to be talking about is the players, the pimps, and basically Black males in the 1970s were seen as the man. So when they mean the man, they mean like they used to be the guy, like to have the latest outfits, to have the hottest girls, to have the hottest cars, like seen in movies like Superfly and the Boondocks as a pimp named Slickback. These men are also seen as slave owners. They usually would like sell their women to provide for their families back at home. And the pimp and the players are often seen as a form of masculinity, highlights of sexual progress as ideal masculinity. Nowadays, women can be considered pimps. As you see here, the Pretty Hope, she's famous on Instagram for being a prostitute, but she's also fighting a case right now so that she can, because she has certain, a lot of counts and a lot of charges for prostituting men. And pimps are also seen as men to dress in flashy clothes and wear big chains, such as Money Mike and other pimps. And women pimps are seen as prostitutes and bad bitches, and that will be considered the pretty hoe.
My name is Jasmine Hamilton, and I'm going to be talking about the stereotypes placed on Black women in order to sexualize and dehumanize them. So one of the stereotypes that I'm going to be talking about is the bad bitch. And the bad bitch is often portrayed in movies, TV, social media in the past decade. For example, an example of some of the bad bitches would be the City Girls. They're artists who often talk about exploiting men and doing that by using their sexuality and their appearance to manipulate men and get them to do things for them, like get them materialistic items, provide for them, give them money. And one of the quotes from one of their songs actually is, "If he got a check, this fantasy can happen." So that's directly saying if he has money, and if he has money he can provide for me, then I'm gonna let him do what he wants with me sexually. And that's an exchange that they get. They're seen as independent, but in reality they do depend on men a lot, like I said, for their money, security. And so that's often seen as positive and negative at the same time. And another stereotype I'm going to be talking about is the welfare queen, a very exaggerated depiction of poor Black women on welfare. And so basically, this is dehumanizing as well because they're often seen as unkept, nappy hair, unshaven, smelly, and usually larger in size. And actually, Ronald Reagan himself was talking about this stereotype, saying that these women have 80 different legal names, 30 different addresses, 12 social security cards, and are collecting veteran benefits for non-existing dead husbands. So it's very cruel, very exaggerated. And this is often put on older, bigger women.
So in conclusion, the African American community and stereotypes are like shown in a very vulgar way. So now it's shown in like movies, TV, and social media, and that is our presentation.